So, hello, this is Yuri Skaja talking to you again from Riga. It's been a while. I've been busy with this, that, and the other thing, and just haven't gotten around to recording a video. So, what's going on? Well, we've had a spike in COVID infections in Latvia, and we can sort of look forward to certain tightening of restrictions on public gatherings and indoor gatherings and the like. And of course, the authorities here have managed to trace down where these spikes are coming from. They seem to be concentrated on certain workplaces and in certain towns, and there are kind of individual restrictions being imposed. So we are not going to get as yet, a nationwide lockdown or kind of rather serious, or as some people would say, panic-like reaction. So, what else is going on? We had a meeting in front of or a demo in front of the Parliament. After, in less than a week, more than 10,000 signatures were gathered yet again in order to introduce a gender-neutral civil partnership law, or legislation that would allow people living together, much as those living in Sweden under the law on cohabitation or sambolagen, to do the same here in Sweden, regardless of whether they were of the same or of the opposite sex. That was turned down in committee the week before, and almost immediately, a new campaign was started to gather signatures. You need 10,000, and it was done in less than a week. And about 100, 150 people demonstrated in front of the Saima building. Had it been different times and had not everyone tried to be so letter of the law respecting in terms of going there in masks and socially distancing and all that, I think that 1,500, 2,000 people should have gathered there and really shouted and told the Saima that it's time to join the Western European democracies in recognizing that the families or marriage is not the only way that you can affirm your commitment to someone, and B, that a small number of same-sex partnerships should and must be allowed in this country if we are to be part of civilized Western European democracy. Well, that is now going to be considered or brought before the Saima for a second consideration sometime next week. What else is happening? Yeah, we're on Saturday, tomorrow, the 10th of October. The rather colorful Latvian politician Aldis Gobzems, one of the co-founders of the Who Owns the State, Kam pieder valsts KPV party, which did a fairly good showing in the last parliamentary elections, but of course, as we all know, the party sort of cracked up and fell apart shortly thereafter, and there was a big row between Mr. Gobzems and his political partner in founding the party, Artus Kaimiņš. Now, both of these people seem to have found their way out of the party. They've been expelled or quit or whatever. Anyway, this populist party, still officially a part of the five-party coalition running the country, is basically in tatters. And what Mr. Gobzems has called for is a demonstration tomorrow to go out into the streets, I guess, against everything, but also against these COVID restrictions. Not because that there can be differences of opinion about whether the pandemic restrictions that are imposed are proportionate or not, and how, by what scientific standards they are determined. But I think basically a skepticism that COVID exists at all. There are a number of rather colorful conspiracy theories going around that the whole thing is just an invention in order to control the world and on behalf of God knows what, QAnon, Satanists, you name it. This kind of movement has been expanding in Germany, and And it's getting traction everywhere. These are times when, thanks to social media, some of the most bizarre ideas can get considerable traction, and people will follow them, and people will act upon them. Well, that's what's behind the gathering. I think that Mr. Guobzems, Aldis Guobzems, who's a lawyer, who's a smart guy, how he ended up sort of out there on the fringe, flying with the loony birds, is an interesting issue, but I'm not able to answer it. Also on Sunday, there's going to be a marathon here in Riga. It usually gathers thousands of people. Now, how many people will show up here? Because it is a big international marathon. It has been building up its reputation over the past several years. How many people will show up is up to question, because you have to self-isolate for 10 days if you come from anywhere except Liechtenstein or whatever is the last country that still can freely travel to Latvia without this requirement. So doesn't look like any of the international runners will be able to be here. The people from who usually win, the people from East Africa, the Kenyans and whatever, unless they've already been here for 10 days and waiting to be participants. And maybe they have been, because a lot of the other international marathons have been canceled because of the pandemic this year. So that's going to be a big event here in Riga. Hopefully the weather will remain reasonably cool and not rainy, as it has now started to rain outdoors. We've had an unusually warm October so far, to the delight of some people who like that kind of weather, and to scratching their heads those who say, well, why is it this warm so long? Where is the real fall and all that stuff? Anyway, and neighboring Lithuania, we're having elections, which is a really tough thing to report on. First of all, because I don't read Lithuanian. Google Translate sort of reads Lithuanian on my behalf. And it's pretty much of a big circus there. There are 17 parties running for the Seimas. There are 141 seats. The election system is a weird two-tiered thing where there are individual consistencies or whatever it is. And then there are constituencies. That's what I wanted to say. Individual constituencies. And then there is a general list which is elected across the whole country, and then everybody sort of adds it up, and there's a second runoff on the 25th of October, and then that is when the zoo really begins, when the Lithuanians try to put together some sort of a coalition. Apparently, the Lithuanian Social Democrats will play a significant role in this. But which Social Democrats? The Social Democrats have gone through a number of transformations and splits since the last elections in 2016. And I think there's an American expression that describes Lithuanian politics. I think it's like a barrel of monkeys. And again, a barrel of monkeys where I have not been watching the monkeys as closely as I have been trying at least to watch the monkeys in the Latvian barrel of monkeys, also known as our parliament. But so that's what's going on here right now. And there are, otherwise, as yet, no significant dramas. The government, of course, has been meeting whenever it feels it necessary to meet, reacting to this, that, or the other twists and turns of the COVID statistics. We've had a record number now. We've had more than 100 people testing positive over the last few days, or almost on each of the last few days. Of course, anyone who's listening in the U.S. or in Spain or anywhere else will say, "Well, that's 100 people. That's how many test positive in an hour in where you are." But for Latvia, it is a spike. It is something that should be looked at carefully and reacted to prudently and proportionately. So we'll see what happens. And for now, I'm off in a couple of hours to do TV panel discussion about the American elections here on a Latvian TV station, and should be interesting. So I am going to sign off from Riga for now, and talk to you again soon.